Hey everybody, I'm in Chicago today on the near northwest side, a little neighborhood called Dunning, and we are at the Read Dunning Memorial Park Cemetery, and today we are going to look for the grave of a very infamous wife killer who came from Germany back in the late 1800s. And we are in. Well, it's going to be a challenge to find the grave of Johann Hoch, the infamous wife killer who emigrated, like I said, from Germany to Chicago. His original name was Schmidt, and when he came here, he came with his first wife, Annie. She was an invalid, so no surprise, she died just a few years later. After that, he would go on a spree of killing somewhere between 20 to 30 to up to 50 wives over the next couple of decades, a little bit longer. And the average MO, I'm not going to go into each story, but the average MO was to marry them, charm them, marry them, and then within 3 to 4 weeks poison them, and of course take their estate. And he was very clever because what he would do is he would always leave the area. He never would stay in one place too long, but he'd always come back to Chicago. One really amazing little trick he had was, and he did this more than once, but this one event where he faked his own death by taking off all his clothing by the river, laying it down with his valuable gold watch or silver watch, and leaving all that stuff on the shore and then disappearing. Everybody, oh, and he left a suicide note, of course. How could I forget? And they kind of believed it. I mean, there were a couple of detectives who were wary, but he'd go to different places, and then he'd always end up back in Chicago, playing his tricks. Well, they finally caught up with him, and caught him, and he was hanged here in Chicago. And the reason we're here at this particular place is because this place was, in the day, kind of what they would call a potter's field, but it really has a dastardly history, an appalling history. As we stand here to look for Johann, we're not going to find his body. He's here though, he is here. But this land right here only represents a sliver of the land that was home of the Dunning Asylum. Built in 1858. The Dunning Asylum was built mainly to get rid of people. In Chicago, we had overpopulation in the 1850s. What did they do? They built this place so they could get rid of all the undesirable people. People like transients, mentally ill, criminals, undesirables, just anybody they wanted to make disappear. They even went so far here as to build a train track that went from here directly downtown, so that they could ship these people in here from downtown by the masses What does this sound like? I know what it sounds like to me. It sounds like Nazi Germany and Auschwitz. This is appalling history for this city. And believe me, it happened other places. There were other asylums, but this one was known to be the place that was to set the standard. And let me tell you something else. You see these condos here? All of these people have no idea that, and I'm going to tell you this now, there are 38,000 people buried here. 38,000. And do you think I'm talking about this little sliver of land right here? Oh no. It has been documented that these condos and these commercial buildings that you see here, developers pushing through with their trucks. It was like the movie Poltergeist, where the bones were coming up out of the ground. But did they stop? No, because money's more important. So up these places went. And do you think these poor people know? Do you think they have any idea, living in their homes, that there's bodies buried here? A despicable, I think, crime by government. Just terrible. And while this place was here, the Dunning Asylum for the feeble-mindedness, they had a board. Have you ever seen the movie? One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with Jack Nicholson, where we have Nurse Ratched? This is how it was. The board. Keep them locked in here. Keep them drugged up. We don't want to let them out. That place that was here on these grounds, this whole surrounding area, and believe me, you see these condos here? This was the whole complex. They didn't have rooms, they had like barns. And in those barns, they had no hot water, they had very little heat. These people lived like animals. So let me tell you something. It's just heartbreaking that not only are these people defiled in life, but now we stand here and we see, even as I stand here, I see digging and dump trucks, and I'm not surprised they don't take this park away and do some more development. Let's just do it everywhere. Like we're like termites, you know that? There's a Facebook group, there's a community group here that is fighting to keep this land, improve this land. They have on their Facebook page, and I'll put the link in the description, a lot of the death certificates of the people that died here. And some were criminals. Maybe Johann is in there, I don't know. But it's a travesty. 38,000 people buried here, all over. And this is all that remains. There are names. It says here, erected AD 1884, architect C.O. Hansen, building committee. We have the building committee names, and we have the contractor, and that's all we have here. Do we have any names of any of the dead? No. Why is that important? This is just pathetic. Pathetic legacy for Chicago. Should be embarrassed. All the people that did this. Well, all we can do is hope that those people are resting in peace, even though they're disturbed. There's nothing but a snowman here.